All right, welcome to Depressive Realism, our first show. Today's date, June 26, 2013. It is currently 9:35 p.m. You're listening to Phil and my wonderful co-host Brad. Go ahead and say hi, Brad.
How's it going, everybody?
So we're supposed to do introductions and all that crap, but we already know the first people who are going to be listening to us already know who we are, so there's really no point to it. So what do you say? We just dive right in and see where it goes?
Well, let's go and talk about Aaron.
Aaron Hernandez got arrested today, as I'm sure everybody who watches anything dealing with any kind of news already knows. Got charged with one count of murder, and then he also got pulled up on five charges of possession of a firearm. What what do you think of all that?
I think it's really surprising. Well, one, I'm for anything that hurts the Patriots' offense. Like being a Broncos fan and getting Welker, definitely boner-inducing. Then seeing anything else bad happen to the Patriots, I fucking love it. So seeing him get charged with that, I mean, you gotta be pretty dumb. Like you have to assume that Gronk's the dumbest guy on the Patriots, but no,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Aaron Hernandez, the guy who came and buried his evidence properly.
Yeah. Given recent track records, you would definitely think Gronk would be the dumb one. But I think it's kind of funny. I was reading through it, and the thing that they've got him on is rental car return. He had there was a 45 casing found that matched the one found next to the body at the scene of the crime, and then on top of that, he also had a piece of cotton candy bubblicious bubble gum.
Wow, that's
That
gangster, by the way.
by the way, yeah, only real men chew cotton candy flavored bubble gum. But
I,
yeah, so how stupid do you have to be to leave your DNA evidence next to some more evidence that could be matched to the scene of a crime?
I'm pretty sure if you did a quick run through of Osama's palace, you would find where SEAL Team 6 left a piece of Bubblicious.
Definitely.
You have to be one of those really hard men to eat
Oh
that
yeah,
still.
definitely a mix of bubblicious bubblegum and strawberry flavored lube was probably
Yeah.
found there due to SEAL Team 6. Only true men.
So I don't know much about the victim, or I just pretty much heard that it encompasses like he was bad mouthing Aaron Hernandez, and so he decided to go over to his house, and like it was him and his boys pretty much sounded like they were gonna rough him up, and then they shot him, and I think they said they shot him 5 times.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it came down to. The guy, I can't remember his name, but he was a semi-pro football player. That Odin Lloyd, that was his name, Odin Lloyd, semi-pro football player. It's kind of weird because they have a lot of text messages going back and forth between him and Aaron Hernandez and all that. And I was reading through it, and he got shot a couple times, and a couple of them were to the groin. So I mean, what do you have to do to piss somebody off bad enough they're gonna shoot you in the
Yeah,
crotch? I mean,
that's pretty awful.
that's somebody who you probably shouldn't mess with. I mean, if I'm in jail with Aaron Hernandez, I'm not messing with him just out of fear of being shanked in the crotch. That just
Yeah,
sounds horrible.
we're not gonna win this war by shooting people in the dick, Butters. Just it's one of those no-go places.
Yeah, no, it just doesn't sound like a good idea. So now that Aaron Hernandez is out of the picture, Tom Brady doesn't really have too many offensive threats. Of course, the Patriots did go ahead and sign Tim Tebow in the offseason, so
Our one true Lord.
you know, I'll save that for after. But they're looking for a good spot to put him. He says he wants to be quarterback only, but I mean, he's going to see more playing time if he switches to tight end, especially now that Aaron
Yeah.
Hernandez is out of the picture and Gronkowski is, well, damaged goods right now.
Yeah, he should just switch and play tight end or halfback. He should just play whatever they tell him that he can play. I mean, it's
Exactly.
like this, or you're gonna be unemployed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I think that if I'm if I'm Tebow, I gotta kind of listen to whatever Bill Belichick has to say. I mean, Bill Belichick is. I'm sorry, but he's pretty much the god of football.
I mean, like the devil of football.
Well, yes, I guess you could say that. I mean, whichever supreme power you may decide to sway him to, he is that of football. So I think that if you're in Tebow's position, not exactly having the talent to play quarterback at the NFL level, which many are going to debate. Yes, he can play it. Blah 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 blah. I think he only has like 2 losses as a record of
Uh,
starting quarterback.
he got my Broncos a playoff win, so I mean, I'm thankful for that. But I mean, you can't really look at Belichick either with a hoodie and be like, yeah, that's the source of good. No, he is Satan. He is the devil.
So, are you implying by that that anybody who wears a hoodie with cut off sleeves is is relatable to Satan?
No, I'm just saying that if there was one strategic move in picking up Tebow in the offseason, it was for possible virgin sacrifice.
I completely agree with that. I think that the Patriots are starting to get a little desperate, and little virgin sacrifice seems to be a good idea. Now, whenever this all first started breaking out about Aaron Hernandez and everything, I was on the Facebook doing my thing, doing my stalking and all that, and I kept on seeing a bunch of stuff about, oh, well, Aaron Hernandez goes into jail being a tight end. He's going to leave as a wide receiver, blah, 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 blah. How many times can you tell that joke honestly before you just want to punch somebody in the face?
Yeah, once you've heard it once, one time is too many times.
I'm pretty sure people could have predicted that joke was going to come out immediately as soon as Aaron Hernandez went away. I mean, that's just one of those things that I'm sorry, but it's one of those things that it's one of those jokes that's too easy.
Yeah, it's
Like,
overplayed. It's not even worth going for.
Exactly.
The craziest thing for me is how I found out about the news is that I was going on just like a regular like Reddit.com, just looking at different news. Like you can pretty much customize it so you get like hockey here and you can get NFL here. And you
Right.
can get whatever sections that you customize that you want. And I
Right.
didn't get it from NFL. I didn't get it from the Patriots section. I got it from the fantasy football section. That's how I knew that Aaron Hernandez was getting arrested, from the fantasy football guys that were now wondering, make sure you don't draft Aaron Hernandez, and what is Tom Brady worth, and did Amendola's stock go up because now he has less receivers.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, that's the most self-serving thing I think I've seen in a long time, where somebody's getting arrested, somebody else got murdered, but you're worried about, and 71 days away now?
Yeah, something like
You're
that.
71 days away, worried about, let's look at the optimal fantasy lineup.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, really, what they should do is they should start a jail football league and see if they can get a fantasy football lineup going that way. I mean, they had Chad Johnson in jail not too long ago. I think Chad Johnson and Aaron Hernandez, that'd be a pretty good team right there. I mean,
Yeah,
you got some excellent receivers right there. By the way, Reddit.com is Brad's #1 source of news fact finding.
I don't know. A lot of people that use the website, they fucking love it, and they'll like refer everyone to it, and they'll tell people how it's great, and they love to do like meetups and meet other people. I actually hate using the website more than anything else. It's just convenient, and it has like all the stuff I need. Like I can find stuff on like R autos and like find stuff. When I say R, that's the subsection, so it's R. So I can go and get hockey news. I can get fantasy football news.
Hey, you don't need to defend yourself to me. I mean, what is our world coming to when we are on the internet, information at the tips of our fingers, but we have to go to one site that has it all combined just just so we don't have to go to another website. I mean, damn, opening another window and looking for something.
It's just too convenient. You can like set it up so you don't even have to click next. You can just scroll down. And just spend 8 hours of your work shift just scrolling down some more and getting more useless shit.
Speaking of useless, how about the Stanley Cup playoffs?
I'm just glad Boston didn't win. Now, my girlfriend has a lot of family in Chicago, so if it was up to me, Chicago wouldn't have won, because now I'm going to have to hear about it. But as long as it's not Boston, I mean, I'm just hating on Boston a lot this episode already, but I'm just glad it's not the Bruins.
You are hating on Boston quite a bit during this first episode. It's starting to make me think that you are anti-Boston.
Amidst all the Aaron Hernandez stuff, though, did you hear anything about Patrice Bergeron playing in the finals with like a torn cartilage, separated shoulder? He had a hole in his lung. I mean, that's you got to give that up for hockey in that sense. Like, you're going to continue to play with a hole in your lung so you can get a chance at the championship.
I do not have to give it up to hockey. I went to work with a sore arm,
Yeah.
and I was lifting stuff, so I think that I am right up there with him.
Right.
But
That's more than LeBron would do.
but and his headband. But but no, I definitely have to give it up to him. That's pretty impressive playing through all that. I mean, a lot of people, especially athletes, will stub a toenail or something like that, and they are 3 to 4 weeks.
I like
as
to call
possible.
that the Jay Cutler effect. Or the JJ
The
Cutler.
JJ, yes. But so The Chicago wins, Boston loses.
All in 17 seconds too.
What's that?
They did that all, and they scored the 2 goals to win the championship in 17 seconds.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are finding out how uneducated I am in the sport of hockey. Not my forte. I can talk baseball or football, or during the finals, I could talk Game 7 with you. But as far as hockey goes, I am in the dark. But
It's just crazy. It all happened so fast. I don't know if you know who Jeremy Roenick is, but he's a famous hockey player. He's also a commentator. It all happened so fast that he was in the elevator ride going down to do the post-game interviews, and while he was in the elevator, they scored both goals to not only tie and then win the game.
so, so he's going downstairs, and in his thought, he's trying to think of all the questions he's going to ask these different Boston Bruins players and everything, how they feel, what emotions they're feeling right now, just winning the most prestigious cup in hockey.
Right.
And he gets downstairs just to find out that he is not, in fact, interviewing any Boston Bruins unless he wants to get punched in the face.
Exactly.
He is instead interviewing Chicago Blackhawks.
Right, and he also played for the Chicago Blackhawks.
Oh, well, I'm sure that had to. He may not have admitted it, but I'm sure that had to have had some kind of effect on him going down there and interviewing, a team that he once played for.
Right.
So how did the cities of Boston and Chicago handle their victory and loss?
I don't know. From my perspective on it, they seemed to handle pretty fair, except it seemed like Boston had a special way of dealing with defeat this time around.
And yes, they did. A very unique way that many men are used to dealing with many sorrows in their life. According According to CBS Sports, the porn viewing was up 21% in Boston at 11 p.m. that night, which is about the time that Boston, of course, ended up losing the Stanley Cup championship. Good coping mechanism, I suppose.
I guess. I mean, if you think about it this way, that season just ended when they won the championship, so immediately your brain probably goes, well, there's no more hockey. The Red Sox suck. Aaron Hernandez just got arrested. I better go knock one out, some Pornhub real quick.
Yeah, I guess not too many good things going on in Boston right now. Well, I mean, while Aaron Hernandez did get arrested and everything, not all is absolutely horrible in Boston. I mean, the Red Sox, while they're not doing as great as everybody thought they would be, they are still not too far behind in the AL East, which is pretty good for any Red Sox fan. Not good for any Rays, Orioles, Blue Jays, or Yankees fan, since the Red Sox are currently 3 games up in the East. But it's not even. I mean, the season's not even close to being over. There's still got the All-Star break, and then you still have games after that. So there's still plenty of time for all of those teams to come back. I mean, there's no team in the AL East that's under 500, so that's pretty impressive in itself. I mean,
I can never tell when it's a good time to talk bad about the Red Sox or not. Like I would say like 75% of the time I go for it, I'm spot on, and everyone's like, "Yeah, fuck the Red Sox." So then there's always a 25% chance where I like say something about the Red Sox, and they're like, "Wait a second, they're actually doing really well," and I have to be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I still haven't watched baseball."
Well, I can tell you this, that it is always a good time to talk bad about the Yankees, especially with A-Rod coming back, and a lot of Yankees fans are pretty upset about it because they've spent all this money on a guy who hasn't even played a game this season, and they have so much money tied up in their salary that they just they just don't know what to do with themselves. Most of that money is on the DL. I mean, I think Curtis Granderson is still on the DL. Teixeira just went back on the DL for his wrist. He must have been in Boston during the loss in the championships and damaged his wrist or something. But but I mean, they just got so much money tied up on the DL that it's ridiculous. I mean, especially when you have teams like the Rays, or you got all these other teams that don't have that much money invested in their team, and they're still putting up really good numbers. I mean, the Rays sitting at 41 and 38. Yeah, they're 5.5 games out of first place, but they're still they're in the toughest division in baseball, in my opinion. I mean, I used to say it was the NL East, but, well, that kind of got dominated by everybody but the Marlins and the Mets. They got left out in that one.
No, for someone that's a non-baseball fan, how does the cap hit work? Because from what I understand, in other sports, like I believe in hockey, like you can only spend so much. Like there's a cap limit. You
Right.
can't. So I mean, I assume that you can only, like, whenever I hear people say like, well, the Red Sox or the Yankees have so much money tied up in certain players, I'm always like, well, how do they get more money to spend than other teams?
Well, the thing with baseball is, and it's something that many people think is a flaw, is there is no cap limit in baseball. So the
Interesting.
Yankees, being the most popular team in America, they are, excuse me, they're able to go and spend all the money they want, which they usually do in the off season. Go spend all this money to bring in all these high valued players and everything that that don't end up performing as well as they should. Case in point, Alex Rodriguez. He's the best example of it. They paid him just an enormous amount of money, just sickening amount of money. Hasn't played a single game this season.
That's
So
insane.
I mean, whenever you look at that from an ownership perspective, you're kind of looking at the Yankees like, what are you doing? Especially because of all the players they have, they don't really build up their farm system. They spend a lot of money to go out and get all these veterans and everything, which in a way is good because you have the veteran leadership, so they're not as pressured as what younger players would be. But at the same time, they're old and fragile. So I
Right.
mean, just the fact that they have all these players on the DL, somehow the Yankees have managed their way into second, tied for second in the AL East, which I don't think anybody was really expecting. I think the preseason expectations of the Yankees was to be last place. So
So kind of looping back for a second, we'll loop back to hockey and then back to Hernandez. So with hockey, today this free agency season is going to be really big because they, with the lockout, I don't remember if the lockout happened this season. They introduced CBA buyouts where teams are granted amnesty where they can go ahead and buy out a player for X amount of their contract, and then that player can't play for them again for at least a year. They can play anywhere else they want. So one of the players, like Brizgalov, he got bought out, and he's going to get like 1.5 million for the next 14 years, and he's bought out. He doesn't have to play. I mean, that's a pretty solid pension, 1.5 a year
yeah,
for the next 14 years. Will Hernandez, being in jail, still get money from the Patriots? That's what I want to know.
I have a feeling the only thing Hernandez is going to be getting in jail is a morning wake up from Bubba. I think that's the only thing that he will be getting. Um, I
Seems like a $40 million contract,
Yeah,
right?
he had a pretty substantial contract, but I'm pretty sure that somewhere in that contract was don't get arrested.
Don't kill people.
Yeah, don't kill people was one of the clauses of his contract.
What if Tebow forgives him, though?
That is an interesting question, and it's kind of an interesting perspective whenever you think of it, because in your terms you have Satan coaching the team, but then you have the Son of God playing as your backup quarterback, potential starting tight end. So that's a very interesting mix. A lot of religious wars going to be going on in that team. I can see how there's going to be a lot of converts. Should be interesting. Going to be an interesting NFL year.
Definitely.
Moving on, today there was a pretty substantial ruling in DOMA. Um, Same-sex couples were granted with their eligibility for the same federal benefits as heterosexual couples. Um, Being a straight individual myself, I don't see anything wrong with this. I think if they want to be miserable and want to be entitled to the same benefits, they should be. I
I'm
mean,
completely okay with it. I mean, I think they should be entitled to the certain federal benefits that other straight. I mean, there's no reason why they shouldn't. I don't see why
exactly. Yeah.
anyone's belief system should get in the way of anyone else's life. Like
Yeah.
like that doesn't affect you.
Yeah.
Uh,
The thing that I found funny in it is it was a 5-4 majority vote to overturn this, and for those 4 people that voted against it, I'm kind of wondering what they're thinking. I mean, it's 2013. It's not 1920. We're allowed to have you know, in most places you're allowed to have sex marriages, and I'm pretty sure about 90% of the country is okay with it. Like most
yeah.
people don't have much against gay people. Um, so I don't see what was going on with these four individuals that were in on this voting. But hey, I mean, to each their own. If they want to make that decision, they are fully entitled to. And as the deciding officials, I hate to break it to you, but you lost. Um, Now I thought this was hilarious because whenever I was looking this up, I used most fair source that I could. One of the sources that I feel really balances between be, really balances between their opinions and everything, and that was Fox News. I think that they
Nice.
are a very fair and balanced source. I am being completely sarcastic. They are possibly the most conservative source that you could use. But I thought it was hilarious reading through it that they were interviewing a lot of these Christian leaders that were up in arms over it. And one of the articles I read, it was what did it say? It said something to the effect of it was not God's wish for these people to do something like this.
Well, it doesn't matter because there's the separation of church and state, and at the end of the day, those four justices that voted against it, it doesn't matter whether they believe in gay marriage or not, or what their religious beliefs are, or what their feelings on it. At the end of the day, you have to decide: is this constitutional or is this not?
I don't even think that it comes down to that. I think it comes down to is it is it within their human rights
Yeah,
to be able to make this decision, which in my opinion it totally is. They want to do that, let them do it. That's up to them. That's not something for the state to decide. That's not something for the church to decide. That is solely between those two individuals. And
exactly.
I'm all for it. I think it's a great thing. I think that 2013 by now we should not have a problem with it at all. I don't even see why this has to be voted on. I think that it should just go ahead and be put straight through. But thanks to our wonderful justice system, we don't exactly have that that option.
Yeah, realistically, it should have been handled years and years ago. It shouldn't even be an issue anymore.
Yeah, and I think that us giving our viewpoints of that, we're probably going to get a little bit back on it. I mean, I don't really care. I know a lot of family and friends out there, they may disagree with me, but hey, that's the whole point of this is to give our opinions, and if you don't like it, well,
You could stop listening 10 minutes ago because I probably dropped the F bomb too many times for your liking anyway.
God would not like that.
Yeah.
So, another thing, so Matt Lauer today had a very interesting interview with our favorite former Food Network show host,
Superstar.
superstar, Paula Dean. She made, I believe it was her seventh apology or something like that, and I feel that this one was just as heartfelt as the previous six. And when I say that, I believe it was not heartfelt at all. I think that it was just something that was scripted because she's in fear of losing everything, which she pretty much already has.
What's really sad is I was at the gym today, and I don't know how many people have been inside of Planet Fitness, but they line up like 10 TVs next to each other so they can line up the whole cardio area. And I was seeing parts of the interview, and I was like, wow, this is really pathetic that they got the guy Lester from the Today Show, they got a black guy to take the interview of it. And then they zoomed in, and I was like, no, Matt Lauer just has a killer tan. Um, but you know what? To be honest, I didn't even hear until tonight what exactly she said,
Uh,
and it's ridiculous. But at the same time, it's an old white lady from Savannah, Georgia. Anyone
exactly.
that doesn't think she's going to be at least a little bit racist
Yep.
has never been down south at all. I'm
Yep.
not defending it. I'm not.
Oh no,
Yeah.
it's entirely wrong what
Yeah.
she said. I am in no way defending her, but I think that as individuals, if we look at her being who she is, how old she is, her color, and where she's from, if you don't think she's dropped that word once, twice, 30, 50, 60 times in her life, you are dumb.
I would. It would be. I think we should have the same amount of outrage if we found out that she didn't say it at least once. Growing up as a white woman in Savannah, Georgia, at that time period.
It's slightly expected. I mean, it's ridiculous. I can compare this to when Chick-fil-A said that they didn't support gay marriage.
Yeah, it's like no shit.
Exactly. You
Sky
have
still blue?
you have a super
Still cold?
exactly. You have a super Christian owner who's going to come out and say he doesn't support gay marriage, and you're going to be surprised by that.
Yeah.
You're going to have a old white woman from the South come out because she said the N-word and get in trouble, and you're going to be surprised that she dropped it. Really? I mean, let's be serious. Given who she is, where she's from, and how old she is,
Right.
it's expected. Given who the owner of Chick-fil-A is, his religious beliefs, it's expected.
Yeah.
Is it right? No. It's wrong on all levels. but it's expected.
Yeah,
It's one of those things. It's just ridiculous.
and I think in our day and age, yeah, it should be. But you have to also understand that those people that grew up in those certain ways, like, no, not everyone goes around correcting their grandparents to be like, calm down with that shit, because it's not PC anymore. Like, they're kind of stuck in their ways. As much as you try to get them away from it, or like at least try to make sure that they're polite and they're not going around like asking where the white bathroom is or the white drinking fountain.
Or calling little black kids creatures.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm sure there's a ton of more people in Savannah, Georgia that use
Yes,
the
yes.
derogatory remark.
Now, a lot of people are getting mad, especially all over the Facebook and everything. They're getting all pissed off and everything because everybody's dropping her and they're feeling she's being treated unfairly and everything. I'm sorry, I don't think it's wrong that she got dropped from Food Network. I don't think it's wrong her products are being pulled off the shelves. I don't think it's wrong that the Caesar Palace in Indiana dropped her buffet line. I don't
Yeah,
think any of that's wrong. I'm sorry. I think that whenever you are a company, you're paying somebody who is the image of your company,
right.
and she does something like this, you want to cut strings immediately because that's going to come back on you. They're going
Yeah,
to start relating your brand with her words, and
yeah,
that's just not
exactly.
something you want. I
Companies are out to do one thing, and that's to make money. Anything that could hurt that endeavor,
Yep.
they will strike out as
Yep.
fast as they can. That's why Hernandez got cut from the Patriots already. Not when he just got arrested. As soon as he got arrested, they cut him
Yep.
and released him from the team
Yep.
because they're in the interest of keeping money and making money.
Mhm.
And anything that's going to affect on that, of course, they're going to
Yep.
handle it when they can.
Yep. So
Why wouldn't they?
I definitely applaud Food Network for doing that, and all the stores that are pulling all of her products out. I think that it is top notch by them. Now, something that I do find slightly interesting is Caesar's Palace removing her buffet line for being racist. Yet Caesar, coming from Rome, had how many slaves?
Yeah.
So a little bit of conflict of interest there, but I guess that we're not in 940 AD.
It is kind of sad to think about though, because I've hit those Vegas buffets. Gotta know the Paula Deen one has to be delicious.
Dude, so
I
much
can
fried
imagine.
chicken. Oh man, I imagine that's
I'm
just
just sad
amazing.
thinking about all that food that's getting thrown away right
I
now.
do actually feel my arteries expanding though. I don't think that they're getting as clogged.
Yeah, I had to rewatch that video where she took the maple donut and put bacon on it and a hamburger bun. No, a hamburger patty and bacon on it, and then another donut, and then took a bite out of it.
Yeah, I and she wonders why she has the infamous diabetes.
Yeah.
So today I went after going into some of these different news topics and everything, and I had to take a break from it. And I went and saw World War Z today. Uh,
So did you read the book by Max Brooks?
no, no, I'm not that lame. Actually, I am that lame. I just didn't read it. I'm actually currently reading Dawn of the Dead after watching the movie about 7 billion times.
That's a good movie.
It is a good movie. So far, it is nothing like the book, but I don't know. I'm only on chapter 2, so we'll see where that goes. But yeah, World War Z. Interesting movie. Not the best zombie ordeal horror film I've ever seen.
Right.
Definitely interesting though. Brad Pitt may not have been the best choice for the lead character,
Yeah.
but I guess when you have a movie that is kind of questionable on how it's going to turn out, you want to get the biggest name possible in. So I can kind of see where they were going with that. But yeah, no, the movie was all right. It was a little bit too much involved with the romance between him and his wife and all that. But there was one part where women, as they tend to do, called at the most inopportune time. He made the mistake of giving her a satellite phone, and he was in a spot where he needed to be very quiet, and his phone started ringing. So it was
Wow.
provided for a little bit of entertainment. But speaking of phones ringing, we're sitting there, and I'm sitting there watching the movie. It's kind of a quiet part, and I'm getting really into it. Whenever I go to the movie theaters, I have a habit of kind of zoning out and just getting really into the movie, ignoring my surroundings and everything.
Right.
And the guy next to me, who I'm just going to point out, was he was probably about 5'6", maybe 320. His phone starts going off, and I'm sitting there and I just start thinking to myself, what part of the opening part of the movie where they have that "shut your stupid ass cell phone off" part. What did he miss? Like, where in that did he see the exception to him? And that's something that always gets on my nerves whenever I go to the movies. If you don't want to turn your phone off, at least put it on vibrate. Like,
Right.
I don't see how someone's going to be sitting in the movie theater watching a movie and then just think it's okay for them to take a call right in the middle of the movie. Like,
It always throws me off, and I hate it. That's the one thing I hate the most. People that talk during movies, people that text, people that answer their phone.
yeah,
It drives me insane. I went and saw Man of Steel with my brother last weekend. We're like, oh, we'll go down to the Ybor Movie Co. and see it. And I'm sitting there trying to get into it. I've heard such great things about the movie. I enjoy comic book movies, so I start watching it. It's an origin story, so of course, like every origin story, like he's going to learn how to fly. He's going
right.
to learn his heat vision or laser eyes, whatever they want to call it.
I like
Well,
laser
during the
eyes.
part where where he's learning how to fly, Superman jumps up off the ground, starts trying to fly, and then falls and hits the ground. This redneck guy next to me immediately goes, "Dumbass." Like, oh, I'm sorry, sir. Do you have some experience in Superman flying?
Actually, I do. I got real drunk one time and jumped off my roof, and I landed on the ground, and that was my experience in flying, and I could have told him it was a bad idea.
Like,
As he drops an N word right after, but we're not going to crucify him.
yeah. I don't know. I would drop a solid okay, so I'm going in a matinee show. Tickets were only like maybe $8 because I saw it early on a Saturday. But honestly, next movie I go to see and I actually want to see a good movie, I'd probably pay an extra $10 to rent like just Bose headphones.
Yeah.
Just so it's not going to throw me that some
Yeah.
idiot wants to comment.
Yeah.
Oh, and besides the redneck guy, there was a little kid behind me that every time like the planet blows up. Okay, everyone knows the Superman story.
Right.
Krypton blows up at some point. The kid goes,
Way
"Dad,
to
was
ruin
that
that."
Krypton?" I'm like, "Really? This kid's gonna ask questions the whole time?" And the kid just every time something happened in the plot that you could note down that was key, that kid had to ask his dad if that just happened, and I just wanted to punch the little kid in the face.
Yeah, I don't understand what people think whenever they go into the movies, and that's something that I really hate about it being summertime now is that there's so many more people with so much more downtime. It
Yeah,
used to be whenever school was still in, I could go during the middle of the day, not have to deal with anything, be practically just me in the theater, don't have to worry about it. Now you go in, today we got in, movie theater was packed, it was ridiculous. And people, they just don't know when to shut up. They think it's okay to go ahead and just talk on the phone, do what they got, whatever.
Yeah, there needs to be more places. I don't know if you've heard the Alamo Draft House in Austin.
No,
but
no, I haven't.
they have this policy. If you go in there and you text on your phone, or if you start talking, they will ask you. They give you like one warning, I think, and then they ask you to leave.
No, I don't even think they should give a warning because their warning comes at the beginning of the movie when it tells you to turn your stuff off.
Right.
And I think that once you do that first offense, that's all it takes is just that one, and somebody should immediately come in, and it should be like like what they do. You always see in the cartoons and everything. Somebody just comes out with like a cane and just hooks them and pulls them into the back.
Right.
Cause it's just ridiculous. I don't.
I'm just saying, if there's a venue that offered that kind of service, I would drive out of my way.
Oh
to go
yeah,
see a
definitely.
movie
I would
there.
I would drive all the way out to. Well, I can't really think of anywhere far away that I'd be willing
I would
to
drive 30, 45 minutes, maybe 45, maybe 30, maybe 45.
No, we'll go with 30. 45 is too close to an hour. That's just too much for me. I'm lazy. I'd rather sit at
There's
home.
this like really dope movie theater in Orlando. You got the Cinebistro leather chairs. You get the headphones, and if anyone else brings you out of the movie or starts talking or answering their phone, they're getting kicked out. You wouldn't drive like an extra 40 minutes to see that?
Um,
I would. I would make a day out of it. Be like, oh, it's Saturday morning. I'll drive up.
I don't know that.
I'll spend $15 on a movie ticket.
Mm,
I'm sick of having movies ruined for me. I really am. People talk during Iron Man. People talk during Man of Steel.
it's getting to the point now that I'd rather just wait for it to come out on DVD and rent it.
Yeah, that's
I
what I
mean,
normally do.
it's to the point. I mean, it's nice to go out to the movie theaters, but between the prices being so inflated now, I mean, today just for popcorn and some drinks, it was. I want to say it was like $24 or something like that.
Yeah, they have to make. The movie theater makes their money on concessions, so.
It's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
If the movie theaters are making their money on concessions, then why the hell are movie prices so jacked up?
Hollywood.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But yeah. So you were talking about origin stories and comic book movies and stuff like that. During the previews today, they showed a preview for Thor 2.
Yeah.
Looks pretty interesting. Still haven't seen the first one, so I should probably do that before I see
First one is
Thor 2.
alright. I already know I'm gonna have to go see the second one opening night because my girlfriend is in love with the guy who plays Loki,
Uh,
which is really weird.
yeah, that's kind of awkward.
Yeah, he kind of looks like a girl, doesn't
That's
he?
the dude with the black hair?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he's kind of weird looking.
I'm like, I'm not sure if I should be happy with my girlfriend liking weird looking dudes
Well, I
or
mean,
just accept it.
looking at you, I would be pretty happy about it because it seems like
Uh,
she's pretty forgiving on looks.
but maybe I should be sad because I'm kind of like the exception. Like I'm not a weird looking dude.
Oh, I was going with the fact that you were.
I was trying to make myself feel better.
No, no, there's no making you feel better. Not with me around anyway. but
Thanks.
but they also had a preview for the next Wolverine movie coming out.
Oh yeah.
Um,
I'm kind of sick of X-Men movies. I feel like there's been so many, and like nothing really big happens. Like I don't remember. Does anyone die in any of the X-Men movies? I mean, like besides like bystanders, pretty much like they get together,
well,
they fight,
well, I
they
mean,
separate.
the end of I think it was X-Men 2. I think it was. I'm sorry if anybody hasn't watched a movie since 2006, but what's his name? Xavier.
Oh yeah, Professor
Yeah,
X.
he dies in the second one.
Right.
The chick, Jean
Oh, Jean
Grey,
Grey.
she
Yeah.
dies. But it was interesting because during the preview, they actually brought that character back as I guess he was like having a dream or something like
Oh,
that about
Phoenix.
her.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Quick aside, I've had a thing for that actress ever since she played what was that girl in Goldeneye? Do you remember?
oh yeah, that was a long time ago,
I
man.
just saw that movie as a kid. Still
You're
have a
asking
thing
me
for
to
that
rewind a
actress.
bit. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, that movie just I don't know. It doesn't look like it's gonna be that great. Just
I don't have really any interest unless nothing else is out and I need something to do on a Saturday and I can't think of anything else. I don't really want to see any more X-Men movies. I mean, X-Men First Class is pretty good.
never saw it. That was the one
Uh,
with like where they were like younger, right? Yeah, I
yeah,
never saw that one.
that one was actually pretty decent. That's probably the best X-Men movie I've seen.
I liked the X-Men Origins Wolverine. That was pretty good.
Oh yeah, Origins was alright. I mean, I wish they would have done Deadpool better. Just like reaching back to
Yeah,
my comic book nerd days.
yeah,
Like there was so much room to make Deadpool really awesome, and they kind of didn't.
yeah. It definitely had some room to be better, but I'm personally a fan of Ryan Reynolds, so
Yeah.
couldn't really do anything about that. But yeah, no, it was going back to World War Z real quick. It was a good movie. Well, not good, but it was all right. I wouldn't suggest anybody go out of their way to watch it. I would wait for it to come out on DVD and then red box that bit.
I think it's pretty crazy that they spent all the money to get the name World War Z and then didn't do anything with the book storyline. I
Yeah,
mean, I understand that a lot of people are saying like, well, the book storyline might not have worked with film. Like, that's okay, but you probably could have took a zombie movie with Brad Pitt anyway and called it like Zombies: The Reckoning, and people would still go see it.
Zombies the Reckoning. Yeah,
Why would you pay for World War Z if it's not the book?
Pretty Boy versus Zombies.
Yeah.
So on Saturday in Pinellas County, there was a child that got locked in the car, and it was a 3-year-old, and the child, of course, died. I mean, it was left in the car for I think it was like 6 hours or something like that.
Jeez.
But when I
Now, was this while the mom was like shopping,
Mhm.
or what? Wow. One, I've never gone shopping for 6 to 7 hours, so I don't even know what that's like.
Yeah, it was something ridiculous. But what I found most shocking about the article I was reading, it's kind it's kind of funny, but at the same time, it's a very touchy subject, so it's not
It's pretty sad. I
funny.
mean, that the kid.
But well, no, the topic though was how to avoid forgetting your child in the car. And I'm sorry, but if I'm a parent, I look at a child as the most important being in my life.
Right.
So why would I forget the most important being in my life in the car?
Well, it already started out with you. Instead of forgetting him in the car, I mean, you could have taken him with you, but she didn't want that effort or that responsibility of.
Well, no, the articles because it had I forget the lady's name, but it had something from a lady in some department that deals with child investigation, and it was saying that most parents forget their kids in the car. They don't wake up in the morning and say, "Hey, I'm going to lock my kid in the car so they die." Blah blah blah. It was saying that most kids will forget their, or most parents will forget their kid is in the car. And whenever I read that, I just kind of sat back for a second. I said, "What kind of moron is forgetting that they have a kid in the car?" Like that's a living, breathing individual. You don't just forget about that. It's not like
Right.
you're leaving your cell phone or your keys or anything like that. You're leaving a person.
Yeah, I don't even think I could leave my cell phone somewhere for 6 to 7 hours, let alone a person that I created and I'm responsible for.
Shoot, my dog, I leave him somewhere. I don't like see him moving around or anything like that for 20 minutes and I'm freaking out.
Yeah,
But
he is kind of special though.
yeah, he's a little bit of a mentally challenged canine. But yeah, no, I just don't understand that, how you forget your child. Like that just seems like it's kind of a big deal and something that you shouldn't forget.
So is this lady being charged with manslaughter? Is she being charged with?
I didn't bother to read into it. It lost my interest. But I just thought that that article was slightly humorous.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of humorous, the guy going across the tightrope, Walinda, Nick Walinda. What a story. So this guy's from Sarasota, right?
Right.
He has, I think he has 3 kids and a fairly attractive wife. Like she's not bad looking.
Right.
This guy goes to the Grand Canyon and strings up a 2-inch wide wire across the Grand Canyon and calls up Discovery Channel's like, "Hey, why don't you guys come out and record me doing this?" So he goes across and takes about, I think it took about 25 minutes or something like that, but he did it. I actually texted you while I was watching it,
Right.
and I feel like that's 25 minutes of my life I'm never gonna get back. Um, I have never heard the words "Thank you, Jesus" so many times in a 25-minute period. Um, I've never.
Yeah, I didn't say. I think he should be aware that Jesus also created gravity. So
Yeah,
if he falls,
yeah. If he falls,
that's on Jesus
he should
too.
probably be thanking Jesus for the expedited trip. Um, but no, it was weird. I don't understand why somebody would do that. Like,
Unless there was some like serious payoff, like his wife built up like 100K in credit card debt, and like he hates his job, and
well,
like he hates
that's the
his
thing.
kids.
He doesn't even have like a real job. His job is tightrope walking. That's all the
Right.
dude does. And he comes from a family that he knows the risk. His great grandfather, I think it was 1978, I want to say,
Right.
was crossing some wires in Puerto Rico and fell 120 feet to his death.
Wow.
Um, s I see stuff like that and I just question why. Like, why would you do that?
I think with his grandpa doing it, let's say he was doing it like 100 years ago. If you not pull something like that off, you're probably gonna be a pretty big deal for a long time. Like you're a daredevil, you pull that off, you're gonna be able to tour around forever. But in this age of the internet and there's so much information and so much shit's happening, honestly, people aren't going to remember that guy. I mean, I barely remember what his name was when you brought it up, and I didn't really pay attention to it. I think in half a week from now, no one's even going to remember that he did it or care.
Well, yeah, pretty much. I mean, really, the only feasible reason I could think of that he did it was so that he can go down in history as the first person to go across the Grand Canyon. But I mean, what exactly is that going to get you?
I was already hearing people like trying to discredit it a little bit, like it wasn't actually. I understand that it would probably take him like days to do the actual Grand Canyon, but someone said it was like a small gorge to the side of it, and then he just did that.
Yeah, it was from some like plateau that it was weird. I mean, don't get me wrong, what he did was insanely ballsy. I mean,
Yeah.
they were showing like 360 coverage from a helicopter that was going around and it was absolutely insane. Like
Right.
the dude is missing something upstairs if he's okay with going across that. But there's a couple things about the story that I think are weird. There was a case not too long ago where a kid was taken out of his father's care because his father had books about like dragons and stuff like that. and the kid was pulled out of his care and put in protective custody. This guy makes three of his kids watch him potentially commit suicide. Nothing. He's cheered, revered, all that.
Yeah.
So I think that that's kind of an interesting perspective. But on the other hand, going back to how many people were watching it, because this was a big deal. Apparently, people like all over the world were watching this,
Right.
and I thought that it was kind of interesting that everybody was watching this, and I don't think people were so much watching it for him to complete it.
No, people are watching it for him to slip up.
Exactly. I think people were watching it for the same reason people watch NASCAR, because there's nothing interesting about people making left-hand turns all day. But when you see that crash, that's what
Yeah.
turns you on to it. And I
Right.
think that's what people were watching for this. I think they were just waiting for him to just plummet to the ground.
It's kind of hard to be impressed by something like that when you have like Felix Baumgartner diving from outer space.
Exactly.
You're like, okay,
That was another thing. Like, I started thinking about it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back to this guy. What did he achieve jumping from outer space? And then I started thinking about it. Well, he did test a lot of new products. Like, he tested new flight suits, all kinds of
yeah,
stuff that actually has relevance to our military, relevance to other thrill seekers.
right.
What did this guy prove to any, like, as far
You
as
got,
testing any products? Nothing that wasn't already tested. Like,
you got some free genes.
he did get some free genes. He got him and his entire family they were both awarded free genes from, I believe it was the Bison Gene Company or something like that.
Wow.
They are awarded free genes for life because of he was wearing their product while walking across the Grand Canyon. Um, I don't see how free genes for life can compensate for
Yeah,
for that. I mean, I guess in a way it's kind of a big deal because you're saving,
yeah.
$30 a month or whatever jeans cost now if you want to buy a pair of jeans a month. I don't know why you need 12 pairs of jeans by the end of the year, but
I don't know if I'm standing at one end of that rope and on the other end of that rope they're like, all right, we got Kate Upton on the other side for you and a check for $10 million. There's still gonna be a lot of pacing to determine if I'm gonna make it across, let alone some free ass jeans.
yeah, yeah.
I can go buy some jeans.
Yeah, you throw Kate Upton in the mix, I might consider it.
Just do the army crawl. Make it.
That's definitely a thought. Um, but I just don't know. I'm not sure that it would be worth it. I think that would be one of those things that it's just one of those stupid things. I'm not sure that I'd be willing to do it.
Right.
Um, what do you think the craziest thing you would do would be if you had the choice?
Uh, I don't know. I've always wanted to do the like diving out of a plane,
Hmm.
bungee jumping. I don't know, maybe even the Felix Baumgartner, like diving from outer space.
Yeah, see, I'm kind of a pansy when it comes to heights. So,
Yeah, but I mean, I just know that he did it first and he was okay, so it's kind of like I'm not the first one to try it.
yeah, but there's been a lot of people who jump out of airplanes and their chute doesn't deploy or,
Yeah,
bad stuff happens. So, I have trouble placing my faith in just because somebody else did it, I'll be okay.
I also don't have the best luck, so it's probably not something for
No,
me to
no,
try.
definitely not. You should probably just stick to Vegas.
Yeah,
Just lose some money, not your life.
I think I came home even from Vegas, or pretty close to even.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I would do. I've considered skydiving, like I've looked into it a little bit here and there, just because I am terrified of heights. But I think that that's something I would like to do before I start pushing up roses, daisies, flower, whatever your floral preference would be.
Who's the fastest pitcher in baseball right now?
I don't know. There's a lot of really hard throwers. I don't know. Matt Harvey can get it up around 95, 96. Steven Strasburg was able to get it up around 98, 99
So
for a
let's
while.
let's say they're gonna offer you $5 million, but either one of those pitchers can whip a fastball at you and you have to stand still.
Um,
$5 million. I mean, you're not gonna die unless they hit you in the head.
do I get to be in like a batter stance, or am I just standing like chest straight at
You're,
him?
you're in the soccer stance where you're on the wall and you just get to cover your nuts. Because honestly, I'd probably do the soccer stance where you cover like your left hand over your nuts and the right one over your face. Like as long as you protect those two,
I'm not sure that I would be willing to do that.
$10 million. What's your price limit on getting?
I'm not sure because I know that that would hurt a lot, and
Yeah.
getting hit in the chest if he throws it in a certain vital area that could be potentially life-threatening.
Yeah, probably stop your heart rate.
Exactly. Put me in the batter's box to where I can kind of turn my back towards him a little bit and take
Yeah.
the brunt of it on the back. Yeah, definitely, I would do it for 10 million. There's guys in the major leagues doing it for barely a million. So yeah,
But instead of turning aside, you're just like, what if you had your back to him and he's just gonna nail it as hard as he can?
there would be the anticipation, and I'd probably die of a heart attack.
Yeah.
For
Not
being
worth it.
completely honest. But yeah, actually, you know what? I would say now that I think about it, Aroldis Chapman is the hardest thrower. I think he throws like 104 or something like that.
Yeah. So imagine taking one from him, like just right in the ass cheek.
No, that would just hurt so much. I mean, I couldn't imagine it. There's people who die playing high lie, and that's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. Now the question is, would it hurt really bad, or would it be one of those things that hurts so bad that you didn't feel it because of the adrenaline?
I think it would be one of those things that I would feel the initial sting of it, and then the
Right.
adrenaline would kick in. I wouldn't really feel it. I would go into shock, pass out, wake
Wake
up.
up, pump full of morphine.
Yeah, and then once the morphine wore off, I would just be in so much pain it would be ridiculous.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure that's how it would go. So before you came over, I made a trip up to my local Chinese restaurant that I don't even remember the name of, and I was up there. Go in and I make my order and everything. By the way, their General Tso's chicken not the best, but it was okay.
Right.
Relatively fairly priced, so I wasn't complaining too much. But I order it and I'm sitting down waiting for them to come out and say, your fried rice ready. But so I'm sitting there and this black lady comes in and well, first before that, there was a I gotta paint the scenario for you. It's your typical Chinese restaurant. Counter, couple tables, wall covered in chairs. That way, for their waiting line.
Right.
And there's an older lady with two real young kids that you could tell they were like her grandkids. They're sitting there, they're waiting on her food and everything. And I go in after that and place my order. I go sit down. Guy behind me places his order. He goes and sits down. Lady comes in, says that she called ahead to place her order. She sits down and waits. Um, so a little time passes by, and they come out. They give the guy who came up after me his food because I guess he just had something simple like some fried rice or something like that and left. They come out and bring the older lady and the two kids their food. And when the lady comes out to give the older lady her food, the older lady starts like freaking out. Oh, I need plates, or where are my plates at? Because my kids need to eat off of a plate. It's already against serving dishes, so I don't see what the big deal is. But
Sounds like your problem,
yeah,
lady.
so and keep in mind this little Chinese girl is maybe 16, 17, not that old. So she goes to the back. She apologizes. She goes to the back, gets the plates and everything, comes back out, gives them to the lady, and then the lady uh, asked her, says, "Well, we need forks also." And the girl, very very nicely says, "Well, we don't have any forks. We're out of them." And the lady like just throws a fit. She starts freaking out. She's like, "What do you mean you don't have any forks? You've got to be kidding me!" Blah 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 blah. And I'm just like, "Lady, dude, just grab a spoon. It's not that big of a
Yeah.
deal. I mean, I don't see what the big deal is." And this entire time, she's yelling at the kids also because I guess the kids were getting anxious waiting on the food and everything. And she starts getting to the kids and she goes, "You're lucky that I brought you out." And I'm just thinking, what do you mean they're lucky? You're the one that was too lazy to cook. I mean, what's how are they lucky? They're lucky they get fed. I
It's
don't.
just one of those people that you run into on a day-to-day basis that they have so much, they're angry about something and they're just gonna misdirect it at everyone
That's
else.
usually what I do, but I mean, I try to spread it out evenly. She was just being a
Right.
douche.
Yeah.
But so she goes up, gets spoons, takes care of the kids, whatever. So the lady who came in after me that places the order, um, I don't really understand why you're going to place an order for French fries to go from a Chinese restaurant for one. I
Sounds inconvenient. Like there's probably 5 places you pass that you could have just drove through.
exactly. I'm pretty sure McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King.
They'd have better fries than that Chinese restaurant.
Exactly. The Chinese restaurant's giving you the the scrunched up fries from like Publix frozen food section, and so she starts throwing a fit because by now I've waited on my food probably about 20 minutes, which whatever. I didn't really have anything to do anyway. Didn't so I
Right.
was in no hurry. But it had probably been about 20 minutes. She's freaking out. She's like, "I'm on my lunch break. You know, I called ahead. This, that, and the other." And she's like giving this girl like a really hard time. And the girl, like I said, the girl's not that old, so I almost feel a little bad for her.
Right.
And I'm sitting there and I just started thinking to myself, and I'm like, how is it this girl's fault that you're on your lunch break and you decided to go somewhere to get food?
Yeah.
How is it her fault? If I'm on my lunch break, I'm gonna go somewhere that I know I can get my food in a fast enough manner that I'm gonna have enough time to get back to work and eat it.
Exactly.
Um,
And if I don't, that's no one's fault but mine.
Exactly. And I think that that's a main problem that we have in our society is no one's willing to take responsibility for their own negligence. Like people act in a certain way and they're not willing to accept the responsibility for the way they act. They just want to turn the consequences out on other people.
Right.
And so she does that and I'm just sitting there, I'm laughing and shaking my head. I'm doing my best to not get too vocal with it because I part of me wants to rush to this little Asian girl's defense and tell this lady to calm the hell down because it's only French fries. But on the other hand, I kind of just wanted to sit back and watch this train wreck happen.
Right.
Um, so my food gets brought out and take my food. I look over at the lady and give her a nice, genuine smile, and she didn't look too pleased at the fact that I was smiling at the fact she didn't have her food yet. Which that's not technically what I was smiling at. I was just in a good mood and I was trying to spread the joy of my
Spread
life.
the love.
Exactly. Um, Apparently she was not very receptive to that. Which, hey, that's her loss. I think that when I'm willing to spread my joy, I think people should be willing to accept it because it's a very rare occurrence.
Exactly.
So right after I get my food, I'm walking out and I hear her start just raising hell behind me. And I walk out and probably one of my least favorite things, something that really pisses me off. There are certain places you're just not supposed to park.
Right.
Handicap spots if you don't have a handicap sticker.
Right.
Fire lanes.
Yeah.
Clearly says on the road, fire lane, no parking. I walk out. Where's this bitch's car parked at? Right in the middle of the fire lane.
She was too lazy and too fat to find a regular
Just
spot,
a
so she
regular
parked.
parking spot that would have been an extra maybe 15, 20 steps for her to walk.
I hate when I see people do that, especially at the grocery store too. That's one of those few times I wish I just had Hulk strength just to walk over and just roll their car
I
over.
contemplated going back inside and saying something, and then I realized it wasn't really a fight worth fighting.
Right.
So I instead siphoned her gas and slashed her tires. I'm completely kidding. I didn't do any of that. I did not engage in any illegal activities today that I know of. And and I came back home and enjoyed my mediocre General Tao's chicken along with my fried dumplings that were absolutely delicious, along with a beautiful Bud Black that I do happen to enjoy.
Very nice.
So it was a night well spent. Did a little research on some topics, talked to some friends, and watched some TV. And here we
Another
are.
solid weekend night.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it, and I am looking forward to my next adventure down to the Chinese food store to see the angry lady getting her American French fries. But all right, well, it is now approaching our time, so we will bid you adieu. Brad's having a little bit of an issue. If you have any questions, ideas, comments, concerns, general insults, or any kind of greeting you would like to extend to us, you can reach us at depressiverealismshow@gmail.com. If you need to figure out how to spell that, feel free to Google it. I'm sure that there is some dictionary out there that could help you with that.
Send any hate mail, any comments, any ideas. We might read them. Probably just delete them.
Yeah,
But give it a
give
shot.
it a good laugh, and then we'll cut it out. So with that said, you have a great day, and try not to piss anybody off.
Peace
Bye.
out.